Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the Porsche Motorsport GT2 Supersportscar Weekend. We've got our first race about to kick off here under, well, not a scorching sun, but certainly a very warm atmosphere. As many of you know, it is ultra hot here in this part of Europe. The track temperature 32. Well, I actually think that could be 52 because Graham Goodwin alongside me, I have not been to as hot a race meeting in Europe, I don't think ever.
You're absolutely right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever else you are in the world, other than here in Belgium. 41 degrees was shown on the race control, the old race control tower yesterday. Far cooler than that. Certainly, we've got some black clouds beginning to show their presence over the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Are we going to get rain? I suspect probably not. We have had a sprinkle over the last couple of days, but it has, as Toby Moody says, been blisteringly warm.
So then, just to explain, this is the first of our two races that we've got here this weekend for the all-new GT2 RS Club Sport cars, together with the Porsche 935, the newer evocation, recreation of the 935 that was so iconic during the mid to late 70s. So what we've got 700 horsepower under the right foot of these drivers, coming from a twin turbocharged 3.8 litre flat six engine mounted, of course, behind them. And there's some very not just quick motor cars, some very experienced drivers in this field, some gentleman drivers in this field, and, well, with iconic colour schemes such as that, there's not very many cars in the world that you see that are brand new that you know are going to be classics right from the word go, but this is certainly one of them.
Well, right at the front of the grid, that is effectively the demo car, isn't it, for the Porsche 935. I think you told me, Toby, that there's like to be Timo Bernhard that gives that one a bit of a spin here in the classic Martini colours. And great stories, by the way, from the project leader on the 935 and 911 GT2 RS Club Sports in the qualifying show earlier. That originally, as we look at Giulio Perfetti aboard his 935, the Mentos-backed car, recently won the Le Mans 24 Hours in the GTE AM category with the Porsche Project 1. And sealed with that result the FI World Endurance Championship GTM title for himself from Project 1 Motorsports. Fabulous stuff from him. 69 car, the Iron Force Racing, Jan-Erik Schluten.
Yes, yeah. The ring police guys are out in force, and there's been a lot of work being put into that car. That is on the front row of the grid behind Perfetti, who has taken the pole position by 1.1 seconds after his qualifying session that happened a few hours ago. A few people kept a fresh set of tyres ready for qualifying, and it came up trumps for them by the time the last few minutes shook out. So we've got the multinational, should I say, Perfetti on the pole position. Then we've got Schluten alongside him, and here or there was Sofronas, the American, alongside we've got Carl Abelin. So a great range of nationalities, but a lot of people saying maybe they'll be able to go just a little bit quicker in race trim rather than sheer out-and-out qualifying trim.
On the left, James Sofronas. On the right, Klaus Abelin from GMG Racing and Fricadelli Racing. Neuffer in the number 5 car. Carling in the 62, another pair of the 911 GT2 RS Club Sports. Christian Ried, a long-standing gentleman driver, and Bechsteiner on the left-hand side. Van der Vechten, who popped into ninth right at the end. So Chris Hoy on the right-hand side. Then Gurik in the second of the 935s. Jason Bell. Michael Nyken in the fabulous all-carbon bodied 935. Florendo in the 55 car. At the back of the grid is Gelf in the final car, the number 66, the second of the Team Iron Force, a 911 GT2 RS Club Sports. This is a bit of a moment, Toby Moody, the first ever race for GT2 spec machinery. So
many of you have seen and enjoyed GT1 in the past, and then the rise and unstoppable rise of GT3. Here we are in the heart of GT racing, essentially here this weekend. But this, as Graham says, a GT2 grid, a brand new championship launched by the SRO group to bring another aspect of gentleman racing to the gentleman racers. A lot more power, different suspension settings.
Less aero.
Less aero, which is, I suppose, Graham, has been the key. You know, you've really got to hang on now with these pro drivers in GT3, whereas GT2 is another avenue for the gentlemen.
The key thing with the GT2s is providing the entertainment that the gentleman drivers are looking for. They can't lean on the aero as well as the pro drivers do, so this actually plays to their strengths. Much quicker in a straight line, 700 horsepower on the right foot of all of these cars. Less aero, so the performance in pulling out that lap time less dependent on the aerodynamic grip of the cars, more dependent on the sheer grunt.
The Porsche GT2 RS Club Sport limited to just 200 models, 200 off from the production line, whereas the 935 that you can see leading them round, and then the pole position car, just 77. Why 77? Well, it was 70 years of Porsche last year when they launched the car, and they thought, it's too easy to have 70, let's just put another 7 on. Yep. So they did. And
I'm sure that, I believe every single one of those is sold. GT2 RS Club Sport is all but sold out. The 200 production run of that car. Any limited edition Porsche always popular in the marketplace. A limited edition Porsche race car, just all the more so. And now those prospective customers and the customers waiting for their cars will be able to see just what performance they're going to get for their money. I spoke a little earlier in the paddock to another well-established gentleman racer who's told me that he's expected to deliver his car, and it cannot wait. Long chat with Christian Reed. First time he's seen the car in the full Proton competition livery. It's almost identical to the FIWC livery in his 911 RSR. Successful team there from the rather tall German, but can't wait to get racing in the latest toy. And this is the latest thing. There is the number 70 car. Did look as if that might be Timo's helmet, by the way. Timo Bernhard, ex-world champion, of course, in the FI World Endurance Championship in this 935, and a man with, well, finger on the historical pulse for Porsche and all things sports cars. He'll be enjoying this moment.
Yeah, caught up with him earlier and talked about the future of GT racing, current GT racing, the World Endurance Championship, and old times of what Porsche did back here 30 years ago, and a hugely knowledgeable, quick, honourable man, as we know that Timo Bernhard is, and successful, and ploughing a lot back into the youth at Porsche as well, going to talk to new people who have come to work for the company. And he said it's surprising how many people are still talking about my Le Mans victory from 2 years ago. You know, he's made a huge impression.
And now through Christian Bernhard, of course, in GT3 racing as a team co-owner with the family team there. Cars beginning to get the heat into their tyres. They shouldn't have to work too hard with the prevailing temperatures here. Let's wait and see what the race proper brings. It was a very neat and tidy 45 minutes of qualifying earlier. Some quick times coming right towards the end of the session as these guys unpick the puzzle that is a brand new race car on a circuit where they've not run before. And now the 935 leading car, the Martini livery car, will pull in. Will then release the field under the control of Egidio Perfetti to the red lights going out into the bus stop. And I'll leave it to you, Toby Moody, to call the start of this historic race.
Well, the 7 kilometres of Spa, that is just 4.35 miles around here. I say just the 4.35 miles. It's what a wonderful circuit it is. It's one of the best circuits in the world, and for GT racing it really is up there. So Perfetti on the pole position, Sluton alongside him, Perfetti with the white car with the blue stripes on the left hand side, Sluton alongside him. Then we've got Sofronis and Aberlin. Sofronis with the red, white and orange flashes. He dashes out to the left hand side, and the American's got a good run, and he's got the inside line, so he goes from the second row of the grid and he takes the lead as he puts on the anchors. A big stop into the hairpin for the first time, and now they start the charge downhill. It is so Sofronis. Well, he may have lost his crash helmet on the trip over the Atlantic. He still had his luggage lost, but got it moving around a little bit as he goes through Eau Rouge. But the helmet that he has been lent by Uwe Alsen is certainly coming up trumps at the moment as they all get through safely and start the charge with 700 horsepower underneath their right foot, all the way up to Les Combes for the very first time.
James Sofronis, a highly experienced GT racer from the United States, of course. He was looking for that move up the inside. Egidio Perfetti gave him the room to actually try that. We'll wait and see whether or not there was anything awry with that start. Didn't look like it to me. Looked like he was exactly where he needed to be, was braver on the brakes, and braver certainly through Eau Rouge and Raidillon. He said they didn't have as much aero. He was using every scrap of it. That's Sir Chris Hoy up the inside there on Christian Reed.
A round of applause, because that is a fair scalp for Chris Hoy to go through ahead of the Dempsey Proton coloured car, as now they start their charge downhill. This is a 28-minute race plus 1 lap, the first of the 2 races that we've got here at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium this weekend. So leading is still Sofronis from Perfetti from Slouten. It's accordioning up, should I say. Hoy he's made good progress. I think he had a bit of a technical problem in qualifying, but now he's being able to stretch the legs of the car and really make his mark.
Yep, so Chris dropped right back at the start of that race, but he's been taking scalps at almost every turn here, and all of a sudden, Egidio Perfetti, he's taken a big deep breath. He's found all 700 horsepower are present and correct. He's about to use them, get on terms with the leader, James Sofronis. Sofronis did what he had to do there. Trying to get the break, but it's not quite worked. It's now going to be about whether or not Egidio Perfetti can find a way by the 911 GT2 RS Club Sport ahead in his 935.
Into the bus stop for the first time. It's a big stop. A lot of people saying to get used to the immense power of these brakes, you've really got to commit, and the tyres will be up to temperature. The tyres will give the full grip. The Michelins that they've got underneath them will be working wonders. Little bit of a more defensive line into that first corner as we start the second lap by Sofronis. Sofronis from Perfetti, from Slouten, from Aberlin in the white car with the black bumper and the black bonnet as they come down to Eau Rouge once more. Everybody saying no matter what car you drive, it's still Eau Rouge. That wall, that bank, that mountain of tarmac in front of you, always going to get a driver going.
Better exit speed though for Egidio Perfetti. He's going to try and tuck into the toe here. Which way is he going to go? To the outside, or is that a dummy? To the inside here. He's not close enough this time around. It does look to me as if at the moment he's got the quicker car. Big winner, by the way, on that first lap was indeed Chris Hoy, up to 7th position overall and making good progress.
Started 10th on the grid, did the former Olympic gold medalist cyclist, and he's going to make a move, and he goes through, and Perfetti puts the car in. Was there a little bit of wide? Sofronis tries to hug the curb, he kicks up a little bit of dirt, and now it is Perfetti who's gone through, but still the tighter line being held by Sofronis. Now he's got to hold onto the shirt tails of that longer-bodied, longer-tailed 935.
Yeah, with a bit more aero as well on that 935. And if you're in a position and a skill set to use it, my suspicion is that's going to be the quicker package here. Not to say that the 911 GT2 RS Club Sport isn't quick. We've seen some remarkably good lap times that would have got these cars, by the way, were it single lap time that counted on the grid for the 24 hours proper in the hands of some of these guys. Great stuff from them in qualifying earlier today, and all of a sudden the number 14 car, Sofronis, is under threat from Slouten in the 69 car. We've got a battle for second position, the battle for the honours in the 911 GT2 RS class. Perfetti, by the way, purple sectors in sectors 1 and 2. This is a storming lap from him right now.
Using that aero as he comes through Blanchimont once more. Look at the cars being lent on, those tyres squealing. A few drivers saying you've really got to concentrate going through Blanchimont, but you've got a bit of a get out of jail free card in case you go wide onto the curb. There's that opportunity, but of course you need to keep within track limits. A little bit wider on the exit there from the second place car of Sofronis as he comes over the line. Perfetti is running away relatively, but I need to repeat the fact it is boiling hot here at Spa-Francorchamps. What are the tyres going to be like as this race progresses?
Absolutely, let's wait and see. This is the start again. We've got an elevated view of that. Watch for Sofronis. He's kept his position, goes. Did he go early?
Just judging the turbo spool. No, the green light there, Graham. He was able to go. Maybe he was just left foot braking and just getting it.
Either way, it was a great move. Further progress, by the way, on that racing lap from Chris Hoy, up into 6th position now to Chris Hoy, and making inroads into the 5th place car ahead. As this time Sluton looks for the move around to the inside, then the outside. Battle for second.
Sluton going to have to slot back into 3rd, but he's cutting one way then the other. Is he going to be able to make a manoeuvre? He goes down to the hairpin. He's made a block move and he goes through, but Sofronis might have a bit better drive on the exit. No, not quite, but the track's dropping away. It won't be helpful as it drops away for the grip of those front tyres, but now he's through and he's away. The question is now, can he bridge that gap of 2.25 seconds to the leader, Perfetti?
Yeah,
Here we go.
Perfetti has checked out at the front of this race without a shadow of a doubt. He was a clear 2.5 seconds quicker last time around from the battling pair for second place behind. Sofronis has lost that position to Jan-Erik Sluton. Klaus Abelen not close enough to put them under pressure, but then behind it's all about the battle for 5th with Neuffer and Chris Hoy 6th, going for 5th now.
He was 6th at the start of the lap, Graham, but he's now gone to 5th.
So that's a big leap up the field from Chris Hoy from the start of this race.
So he's managed to get ahead of Philip Neuffer, who's there in the blue car, number 5, and he's got Christian Reed right behind him with the Dempsey Proton triangle colours. I forget, you know, that triangular brilliant colour scheme that works so well. But Philip Neuffer has got Christian Reed behind him, and Philip, who is a Nürburgring specialist, is bedding himself in very well indeed. The Stuttgart resident now under big pressure from Christian Reed. It's all about the big stops with those big brakes, but Philip holds off Christian. Christian goes a little bit wide for the first part of the right-left complex.
Another great lap from Eugenio Perfetti's in the 2:24s now, 2:24.9, puts him 4 seconds up on the battle for second position. Van Sluiten is pulling away from Sofronis, who is falling into the clutches of Klaus Abelen behind in the Fricadelli car. Chris Hoy is just 1.2 seconds back. He is flying. Chris Hoy with a 2:26. That is way quicker than the two cars ahead of him, on par with the times going in from the second place man. Can Chris Hoy, in only 20 minutes, be challenging here for a podium? I think he can.
That'll be one hell of a fight back, having started from that 10th position. Meanwhile, let's concentrate on this 3rd, 4th, 5th position battle. Here is that 6th place, Christian Reed going through. Yes. Now, many of you know Christian Reed as a name, of course, but of course here at Spa, he's not got the mileage that you'd think he'd have.
Well, it's not. This is his first SRO promoted race since 2006. Since then, he's joined the kind of ACO group races, the LMS and the FIWC, but thoroughly enjoying this. That's a change. That is Sofronis. Is Sofronis in trouble here? That's Chris Hoy going past Sofronis, who's also been passed by Klaus Abelen. So James Sofronis seems to be having a bit of a struggle. So Abelen up to 3rd, Chris Hoy up to 4th, 10th on the grid, and his lap times continue to tumble.
So Chris Hoy's last lap time was a 2:26.4, and that compares in qualifying to the 2:27.3. So it's the old golden rule, Graham. If you go quicker in the race than you did in qualifying, you are flying.
He is, and is catching Klaus Abelen for 3rd position. He's not very far away from potentially, provisionally, a podium finish for one of Britain's greatest Olympians.
Greatest sportsman.
Absolutely.
Greatest sportsman. Yes. Chris Hoy, 6 times an Olympic gold medalist. He competed in the Athens Olympics, and he said it was warm there, but it was warmer in the car yesterday when they had practice, when it all came to a halt. There is air conditioning in these cars, but it's going to take a little bit of power away from the engine. Whether or not you've got 695 horsepower or 700 going down the straight is another discussion, but of course you want to feel comfortable and you want to feel on form. You want to keep your cool.
Yes, Sofronis is losing further positions. Christian Reed has gone by. Oh, and a big slide through the bus stop as Sofronis pits his car, led at the start of the race. Neuffer slides it through the bus stop and continues, but trouble then it looks like for James Sofronis. I think he has a problem. But front of the race, Perfetti 5.5 seconds to the good, at 2:24.619 now for the Mentos man in the number 8 car. The beautifully liveried. Period livery, but it's actually a livery that's never been seen before on the number 96 car. Don't be fooled by the 69 on the side. That is the number 96 935. Going a little further down the order.
That is being driven by Stefan Gurig. He has just purchased the Carrera slot car company.
And Revel, yeah.
And Revel, and actually that livery that's on the 935 is reminiscent of a livery that they had some years ago, but now it's on a real car.
Absolutely.
So there's a full circle going on there. But so Chris Hoy, he's got the Martini stripes on the car. For the 935s, we've seen the retro liveries that have been seen on Porsches in the past. In the meantime, here is Sofronis. He was losing about 15 kilometers an hour on top speed through some of the speed traps before he came in. So maybe there was a bit of a problem, but we know not what.
So Klaus Abelin now is holding Sir Chris Hoy here. Did look for a moment that the Martini stripes on the side of that car were allowing him to pass any time, any place, anywhere he chose, but no longer. He's holding station for the moment at least. So Perfetti from Van Schluten, Abelin, Hoy, Christian Ried. It's the top five, 15 seconds between those five, but the shortest gap at the moment is still Chris Hoy looking to close in on Abelin in the Fricadelli entered car. At the moment, you see Christian Ried's not managing to close that gap on the last lap. Did look a little closer this time around though.
So Hoy's chasing, but Abelin knows what he's doing. A podium man at the Nürburgring 24-hour race. He is well in control with this kind of power underneath his right foot. Chris Hoy saying, I've got used to the balance of the car and how to lean on the car, and the turbo slight lag, not massive lag, but by definition there's a little bit of lag, and how you apply the power in the middle of the corner and just get it rolling and on full boost by the time you hit the apex. Some corners he's left foot braking, giving it a bit of a dab to unsettle the car or settle it the right way, and other places when he's having a big stop, your right foot braking.
Yeah, it was correct by the way. Christian Ried took a second out of Sir Chris Hoy there. Nothing wrong with Chris's pace, but Christian's finding pace. What won't have helped him is in between the two cars, slotting back out into the race has come Jens Sofronis, who's come out right ahead of Christian Ried. In fact, it's a black and white flag, a warning flag to Sir Chris Hoy for disrespecting track limits on turn 17. So
that is Blanchimont.
Taking a few liberties there, Chris.
And if you
big wiggle there
from Ried as he manages to apply the power and get ahead of Sofronis.
That's why he had a bit of a wiggle. He was going offline to go past the GMG Racing man. Didn't want that to delay his pursuit of Sir Chris Hoy any longer than he absolutely had to. It is 40.5 minutes left of the race.
Sofronis has already got the speed in a straight line through the speed trap down the Kemmel Straight. He's got back up to 274 kilometers an hour. That was against the 260 that he was doing before he came in. So he's got the speed back with the Porsche GT2 RS Club Sport. There, okay, we have got, coming through your shot, we've got Neufert, Kraling, Bernsteiner. He's got the other Martini livery, and that is Jason Bell having a bit of a moment. The 44-year-old, that's unlucky for him. The American who knows everything about racing these kind of cars has had a bit of a moment at the hairpin at the top of the hill. So let's hope that he's okay.
Should add as well, by the way, there's feedback from these guys after this racing. It's going to be very interesting. Lots of these gentlemen drivers are used to GTE and, for that matter, GT3 race cars. This is supposed to be brand. Oh, that was a good avoidance there. Oh, almost.
That was Mark Inishen having a huge moment to miss the spinning Porsche. Mark Inishen in the beautifully unpainted naked carbon 935. He's certainly bedding himself in well here, but he still says with this kind of power the car is still faster than me, but it just looks the business. There'll be a few pictures floating around the internet of that car. It is quite something to see.
Christian Ried, by the way, is reeling in Chris Hoy. Behind that pair, though, there's a further battle. 3 cars in line astern with a couple more in close contention. That looks like it's going to heat up towards the end of this race. Plenty of time to go. Remember, these are drivers that will be learning these new cars. You can expect to see lap times improving as we can see at the moment up and down the timing screen. Lots of purple sectors, lots of green sectors popping up lap by lap by lap. In terms of terminal speed here through the speed trap, it's about just shy of 175 miles an hour for these cars. That is motoring here.
It certainly is. So, Hoy with the black car with the martini stripes. 4th position for him. Christian Ried, the German, right on his tail. He's close, as you can see by the graphics. Look at the sporting experience between these two drivers. Isn't it wonderful? Hoy goes a little bit wider on the left-hander compared with the German chasing, but the German has just dropped back momentarily. Now, you mentioned these guys, Graham, bedding themselves in, but we've got Porsche GT2, we've got an Audi GT2 car, rumours about other manufacturers coming into this class. Who do you think may be joining?
Well, what we heard from Stefan Mattel in the SRO press conference earlier today was that a third manufacturer will be unveiled at the Barcelona World Challenge Europe event later this year, with 3 others in advanced conversations about doing this. Watch Christian Ried looking for a way by now. I do wonder, by the way, this is a very experienced Porsche racer, twice winner, in fact reigning champion of the Porsche Cup, the most successful privateer Porsche driver Christian Ried. Whether or not it is experience in Porsches that's paying dividends here, has Chris Hoy used just a little bit too much of his tyres in the early part of this race. Is now beginning to struggle for pace as Christian Ried starts to find it. Klaus Abelin, meanwhile, ahead. Another experienced Porsche racer has checked out. Who else might be there? Well, we know that a number of other series manufacturers are looking at it. The Audi GT2 car, the R8 LMS GT2, is here on display. Beyond that, we know that the likes of Lamborghini are looking at it and considering it. So too are McLaren, Aston Martin, and possibly the surprise package, KTM. So which of those, or is it another, that will be revealing a new car designed to compete in GT2 from 2020 onwards? We're going to have to wait till Barcelona.
Can't wait. Can't wait. It'll be interesting times. There you have them plunging down the hill, taking that little bit of curb on their left-hand side, already over the top and keeping the pedal down. 1,400 horsepower between these two cars. Christian Ried goes one way. He's going to go around the outside. No, he's going to go on the inside. Hoy looks in his mirrors. You can see him looking in the mirror. But Ried can't quite do it. But Hoy is going to have a bit of a slower way in. He's going to have to park it on the apex, a tighter line as he goes round. He'll be laughing inside that crash helmet. Puts a couple of number 11s down on the road as he squeezes that accelerator. Great racing.
It's great stuff. Chris Hoy keeping to a racing line, not weaving. The guy who's doing the weaving is the man behind, looking for a way by. Chris Hoy keeping his line, just making it very difficult. And now it's a defensive run from the multiple Olympic and world champion cyclist. Very much, now experienced behind the wheel of a race car. Has been out in Caterhams this year in the UK. As I say, he was in the support race of the British Grand Prix in Porsche Super Cup. Before that, we saw him in sports prototypes, winning the European Le Mans Series.
He was here
back
last
in 2015.
week.
There you go. Competed in LMP2 at the Le Mans 24 Hours. He's another man. It'll be great to hear from him what he thinks of this as a racing platform. But can he do much against the guys with much, much, much more Porsche racing experience? Well, we'll find out in about 9 minutes.
Well, Christian Ried has done his personal best first split around this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. That's one of the reasons why he was so close up the 2 exhaust pipes of the car in front of him of Hoy. But now let's see what Hoy can do as he goes towards Blanchimont once more. There is your leader. There is Perfetti. We haven't seen much of him. He crosses the start-finish line. He had about a 9-second lead over Sloten. I look out of my commentary box and Sloten rushes past our window. It's now a 10-second lead for Perfetti as he runs downhill, and here's a view as he goes down towards Eau Rouge. Woof, got away.
Quick. As I say, around somewhere doing 170 to 175 miles an hour, the terminal speeds of these cars. It's a great line through Eau Rouge, up over Radion, down the Kemmel Straight, and is imperious here. Look at the gap. That has been done on raw pace. No sign of the second place man at the moment. There he is. It is the length of the Kemmel Straight before we get to Sloten behind in the number 69 car. His lap time's in the 2:26s, 2:25.6 his best lap time. And he's got a kind of equidistant gap back to Max Appelin as Christian Ried looks down the outside this time. Is he going to make that stick?
He's just ahead.
He's got to make it stick all the way to the apex here. I don't think he can do it.
Hoy's got the inside line for the first part, but then Ried is going to get the inside line for the second part. But then if Hoy's got the inside line for the third part, is it going to work? Yes, it is. He leaves him just enough space, lifts an inside front as he rides over the top of the curb.
Well, if that's what GT2 Racing's got in store for us, that'll be fine by me. That was great stuff from both drivers. Absolute respect shown for the racing room required. Christian Ried will be saying some bad words into his helmet, I'm absolutely sure, but actually on reflection I've enjoyed that. Great stuff, great move from Christian Ried, but Chris Hoy decided not going to give this place up quite yet, matey boy. Kept his foot in and provided us with some brilliant racing through those 2 or 3 corners there.
700 horsepower, under 1,400 kilos. These GT2 RS Club Sport cars, they are quick pieces of kit. Hoy saying, yeah, you get down the straight and you laugh every time inside your crash helmet. You will never take the thrill of massive horsepower away from any racing driver. 700
horsepower is, well, let's face it, it's 699 more than you get if you're riding a horse, but it's plenty. And around here, it's going to provide an awful lot of entertainment. It's got a fantastic mix of medium, slow in case of bus stop, and high-speed corners. That's why these guys do this. They do it for the thrill, they do it for the sport. And yeah, this is a great way for them to get the entertainment they're looking for from their motorsport. Chris Hoy actually has played a blinder here, but we've not heard yet the last of Christian Ried here. Closed back up on the Britain as they come to cross the line again for what will be the 10th time. 10th time. 9th time, I apologise. 4 seconds, 0.8 of a second, the gap. Appelin is 4 seconds up the road now. What is and is holding that gap?
Here's the battle, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th position. So we've got Neuffer, Kraling, Bernsteiner with the Martini stripes, and there you have the 96/69. That is Stefan Goering. Why has it got 2 numbers on it? He said, well, I got the car and I painted the number on the side, but then someone else had that number, so, well, I left it on there because it looks good. It's got a bit of, as you said earlier, Graham, a bit of Richard Petty STP about it. It looks so cool. It fits. You think you're back in 1978. It's just got that kind of feel about it.
Why wouldn't you be?
Exactly. Well, let's go to the Glen, shall we?
Well, as we stand here in the booth, you're there in your bell bottoms. That's an era that you particularly favour. Here, though, comes Christian Ried. It's going to be time for another bit of a crack. Grabbing 4th position from Sir Chris Hoy.
Sophronius, who's a lap down, must be so frustrated.
He's
because
right there, isn't he?
He lost a lap because he had some kind of technical problem, but he's been able to stay on the shirt tails of these 2 guys. He's got the pace.
He does. We saw that at the very start of the race, grabbing the lead in that rush to the apex at the source. He was there first. Looked very good indeed. Pulled away in the first instance before Perfetti got his head down, took the lead, and from there on in, Sophronius, whether that was a tyre pressure issue for him, because they were looking at tyre pressures on the pit lane, but Sophronius tumbled down the order before pitting, so he is now propping up the field because of that pit stop. But his pace, nothing wrong with that, in the 227s, 228s. And that is the kind of pace we're looking at from, well, the final podium sitter here. Ahead, Perfetti, now 11 seconds the good from Schleuten.
We touched on the retro colour schemes, Porsche launching to the world the retro colour scheme with Martini colours, also with the Momo, red and yellow colours, the Sachs white and light blue colours from the olden days, the Valant, the turquoise kind of red, kind of yellow colours that they had, the Salzburg colours, the red and white, reminiscing with the
917.
The 917, the first outright Porsche win at Le Mans back in 1970. The Daytona winner from 1981, black with the orange stripe, and the JPS black and gold.
They're going to look great, aren't they? By the way, I should say, Giulio Perfetti is not lifting off here. He is driving this thing to the max, hustle the thing again through the 935 through Eau Rouge and up over Radion, and is pushing as hard as he can. He is 12 seconds to the good now over the chasing number 69, 911
Oh,
EQR. So around
good
the outside
run.
this time.
Christian Reed goes around the outside of Sir Chris Hoy. Something happened in Eau Rouge there, just out the top. Maybe Hoy had a bit of a slight wobble. You only need to lose 1/10 of a second, and then the momentum is quite lost.
All he needed to do was to force Chris. All he needed to do, what am I to say, is to force him to take a slightly compromised line, and he's going to get that better exit that just jets him down the Kemmel Straight. Not giving it up though, Sir Chris Hoy.
Not gonna have an opportunity there. Different line. He's got it leaning on that outside left tyre.
So it's
2 more laps to go.
I think so. So Chris Hoy not giving it up, and now they all of a sudden catching Klaus Abelin. I think they are. Klaus Abelin is beginning to fall back into the clutches of this pair. Lost a bit of pace last time around in the 28.8s, and he is indeed backing up towards this battle. This now, Toby Moody, is a battle for podium position.
So the white car with the black bonnet, that is in 3rd position. There's Reed in 4th. Then you've got the black with the martini stripes. That is Hoy. He is 5th. So we're on for a potential podium change. As you say, Graham, Abelin's last lap 2:28.8. These guys 1.8 seconds quicker.
Absolutely looking for the middle sector times, and they're almost identical, holding that gap at the moment. Abelin needs to just keep his head down on a lap and a half, at the very least here.
So Hoy needs to concentrate on the tailpipes of that GT2 RS in front of him. Keep his head down. What can he do as he slings on the anchors? Big stop, turn it in. Lovely poise of the car as it goes over the curbs. Reed goes a little bit of a different exit to the chicane. 28 minutes plus 1 lap. So we're actually going to get another 2 laps.
We are, indeed. So Chris Hoy, I think his tactic here is stick, if you possibly can, with Christian Reed. Let him do the hard work in catching Klaus Abelin, and see whether or not there might be a last moment lunge. We didn't see what led up to that moment, but it was a much, much better drag down the Kemmel Straight from Christian Reed. He'd been looking for something like that move, but actually made that look pretty easy in the end. So you're right, Toby, that something happened down to Eau Rouge or up through Radion to just compromise to Chris Hoy's speed. But Christian Reed is catching Abelin hand over fist now.
3rd, 4th, 5th position in shot there. So Abelin with number 30, the white car with the black bonnet. He's under big pressure. He's lost all of that lead. What are his tyres like? You said it earlier, Graham. Maybe Christian Reed has been the maestro of tyre management. Hugely hot conditions here. Track temperature will be at least 45, even 50 degrees Celsius. That's kind of Sepang, Malaysia temperature in this searing heat. A few grey clouds over our heads. We thought we were going to get some rain. We've just about got away with it. What's going to happen in the race tomorrow? That's another discussion. It is another day, but we've still got a lap and a half remaining for a potential change for 3rd position. But Abelin will be looking in his mirror as much as through the windscreen.
And let's not forget, we've got another of these to go tomorrow. So it's 2 races this weekend for this field, and so far very neat and tidy. Just a couple of spins, a couple of warnings from the race director for track limits, but that's what these guys are doing here. They're finding out exactly what these cars will do, and in the case of the spins, what they won't do. And they found that out, and getting back onto track and back into contention. This is not done yet for 3rd position. Klaus Abelin appears to again gathered himself. He is fending off at the moment. Christian Reed doing a slightly better middle sector that time. Losing something in the 1st sector, getting it back in the 2nd. As we come to the end of this lap, these 3 are going to be separated by something like a second and a half for 3rd position. It will be the final lap for these cars, not this one, as they cross the line now to go on to their lap 14.
Well, this is the lap where you
13.
need to turn your air conditioning off, because it'll give you those 5 horsepower extra boost. 3rd, 4th and 5th on the brakes for La Source for the last time.
Here comes that battle for 6th.
In the meantime, yes, 6th, so Neufer has got the position back from Kraling, who's dropped back a couple of places. So, yeah, Neufer is back in the position that he was a lap or 2 ago. Kraling the white car with the yellow stripes down the centre of it, and then we've got Stefan Göring with the 935, the blue car with the red stripes down the side of it. He's holding a watching brief as they charge into Eau Rouge for the last time, leaning on those tires. Little bit of a twitch of a slide of oversteer. Great racing. 700 horsepower as Göring tries to put the pressure on. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to have to pull his ears in here to get past as he's got the run, but will he have the inside line? No, not quite. He's going to have a go, and he outbrakes himself and he goes through. Stefan goes through. Last lap.
Pressure exerted beautifully. Meantime, ahead of this group, Christian Ried is on a tear. He is closing on Klaus Abelen. Took about 0.4 of a second out of third place man as they came through sector 1. Imperious at the moment. Minty fresh for the Mentos man. The number 8 car, Egidio Perfetti. And he's going to add a win here at Spa to 2 other titles he's won already this year. The FI World Endurance Championship GTM title with Project One and the Le Mans 24 Hours in GTM with the same car. This is the moment that 935 Toby Moody is going to cross the line to a checkered flag.
Egidio Perfetti wins the race here at Spa-Francorchamps. The Porsche 935 ran away with it. Look at that lead. Look at that victory gap over Schluten. Tremendous stuff. He crosses the line.
But the ones to watch are the cars behind in 2 and 3. And here is Christian Ried. Can he do it into the bus stop? It's not quite there. It's a matter of whether or not mistakes are made. So too there is Chris Hoy. No mistakes now, keeping it tidy, hug the apex, fire 700 horsepower towards that flag, and watch it stick.
Abelen's going to get it. Abelen's going to get that third position, just 3 car lengths ahead of Christian Ried. Chris Hoy, who started in 10th position, crosses the line to take 5th position. But this is the huge battle going on for 6th position. Neufer manages to hold it on the brakes into the chicane for the last time. And Philipp Neufer is going to cross the line to get that 6th position, or is he just ahead of Bernsteiner? Yes, he is, just indeed. Göring gets the next position with the 935. Stefan Göring in 8th place, and then Kraling in 9th position, and then the Filipino driver Florendo gets the next place to round out the top 10. But here is your victor, the very first GT2 race. A little bit of history made here today in Belgium.
Great stuff from all those drivers. Just a couple of little spins, a couple of warnings from race control on the copybook blotting front, but well raced. It's Egidio Perfetti, Chubba Chop's helmet. Put a stick on it and takes a straw, but yes, he's fairly happy with that. The Norwegian flag driver. He's happy. That's what it should feel like as a gentleman driver. This is fun. Serious fun, but fun nonetheless.
It's quick fun. You know, they're doing lap times in qualifying, 2:22. You know, they are not hanging around this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. That'll be a smile that'll light up the world as Klaus Abelen gets out, 3rd position for him. That is a superb podium position for Abelen. But let's catch up with our victor here today of our Porsche GT2 race.
Guido, a massive congratulations. What a spectacular 935 you have. Look at this Porsche Mentos. What is it like to drive?
It's fantastic. No, it's really amazing. I'm really excited about having placed the part in this new championship, new role. It's a fantastic race car. I think it's going to be very exciting next year when there's more of this around. Yeah.
You absolutely dominated the race.
Yeah, well, I'm very pleased. I was surprised at the start that somebody managed to go down the inside, but okay, I paid him back a couple of corners later, and yeah, very pleased with the result and with the race altogether. Yeah.
Well done, great race.
Thank you.
Over the moon, and why shouldn't you be after you've been racing around Spa-Francorchamps in a brand new Porsche 935? It really does do 200 miles an hour when it's standing still. Just look at that. Jan-Erik Schluten, 2nd position, Klaus Abelen in 3rd. So let's have a quick recap of our first race here this weekend for the Porsche GT2 Supersportscars. Perfetti from Sloten, 13 seconds. Then Abelin, Christian Ried and Hoy. What a great battle that was. And likewise, Neufert, Bernsteiner, Gorig, Kraling. That was another close one. Florendo ahead of Mark Inishen, Van der Feesten, Bell, Gelf and Sofronas. Well, what could have been after some technical problem meant he had to come into the pits. He lost a lap, but the pace is there for the American. Let's see what he can do tomorrow with the second race. So, our 15-car grid got away with the American James Sofronas jumping everybody down into La Source for the very first time. And his number 14 car hit the front. He was in first position. And as Perfetti said after the race, someone got the jump on me. I didn't expect that. But soon Perfetti got back ahead. And Sofronas had a huge battle on his hands with Sloten. Elsewhere, Stefan Gorig made waves with that beautifully liveried 935. In the meantime, the battle for 4th and 5th and 6th position was red hot between Abelin and also Sir Chris Hoy. Abelin then, in 3rd position, had a lot of pressure on his hands, whilst we had Jason Bell having a bit of a spin and Mark Inishen just going around the outside and avoiding any damage. So Chris Hoy then had Christian Ried. The Brit and the German were nose to tail for the majority of the race. Hoy having to use every single one of the 700 horsepower to keep the German behind, and he drove very well indeed. The former Olympic gold medalist really showing his mettle, but nobody could stop Egidio Perfetti. He dominated qualifying this morning. He put it on pole position by 1.1 seconds and he was away with it. And then the battle for 4th, it was getting closer and closer. And likewise, the battle a little bit further down with Kraling and Gorig was very close indeed. Perfetti took the flag, 13.5 seconds to the better by the time the flag came down, ahead of Jan-Erik Sloten. And 3rd, 4th, 5th position were over the line. Nothing between them, in fact less than a second between those 3 cars as they crossed the line, which over a half-hour race and a 7-kilometre long circuit proves that GT2 racing, Graham Goodwin, is here to stay.
And not only that, as the podium with Egidio Perfetti from with apologies, that was the Norwegian national anthem for the Italian-Norwegian, Egidio Perfetti, Italian father, Norwegian mother, and he will be, we saw, is delighted with that.
Here we have the winner's trophy being given to Egidio Perfetti by Michael Dreiser, the Director of Motorsport Sales, on behalf of Porsche Motorsport. Whoa, the champagne's gone off already for Jan-Erik Sloten. He'll have to wait a moment. Sloten is presented his trophy by Matthias Schultz, the Director of Motorsport GT Customer Racing, and a man very much involved with the development of the GT cars, full stop, in the Porsche Motorsport range. And the 3rd place trophy being given to Carlos Abelin by Thomas Meyer, Director of Motorsport GT Workshops for Porsche Motorsport. A big smile for the man returning to the podium there. So now they can take the top off the fizzy and enjoy after they've had their podium, and I should think they'll be cooling down with the fizzy as well. Very warm conditions indeed. But fortunately, we didn't have any rain. We didn't want any rain to get in the way, so they can celebrate on top of the podium. GT2 racing has started. It's going to be here to stay.
It is more details with the broadcast tomorrow of where you're going to be able to see these GT2 cars racing next season. That was all given out by Stefan Rettel in his press conference earlier this afternoon. We'll talk to you more about that with race 2 tomorrow, Toby Moody.
Thank you very much, Graham Goodwin from Daily Sports Car. We look forward to the race tomorrow, which will start just after 1 o'clock Central European time. That's just after 11 o'clock GMT tomorrow. In the meantime, that has been our Porsche Motorsport GT2 Race 1.